Hello folks, Kenny Deery is my name from Galway Chamber. I want to talk to you briefly today on this Good Friday about two topics. One is our sense of understanding of where the Galway business community are at the moment in terms of dealing with the COVID-19 crisis and particularly the business impacts of the crisis. And also to begin to open the conversation about the future and what a business recovery programme may look like. One size will not fit all. There's going to be a need for different strategies for different businesses and sectors and across geographies, so we want to begin that conversation. First of all, let's get a sense check of where business is at. Last weekend we conducted a survey on a national level with Chambers Ireland, of which there were about 1,100 respondents. I'm delighted to say again we had 110, we had about 10% of those respondents from Galway City and County. About 25% from the county and 75% from the city, representing a broad sector base. So it's data we can rely on. A little over half, 56% of those businesses who responded are projecting that their overall business activity is going to be sliced by half or more for this year. So that's going to have a serious impact in terms of the ability to employ staff and the ability to keep investing in your businesses. At the moment, 55% of those surveyed have their business fully closed, and over half of those have laid off all their teams. The remainder have entered the COVID wage subsidy scheme with a view to try and keep people on and indeed pay themselves as well. In terms of payments, 72%, nearly 3/4 of those surveyed, have sought to defer payments in some shape or form. 75% have sought to defer rates, and rates has been quite a contentious one because the deferral period at the moment is it's a 2-month window. So some are calling for that to be extended, and indeed others who are closed are saying, listen, rates should not be paid when our businesses are closed, and they're seeking a write-off of the rates for those businesses that are closed during this period and for the term of closure. And that's something that we in Chamber support also. However, in engagement with the City Council and the County Council, we know that rates income that they had projected is going to be a key part of how they provide the essential services they need to provide for us for the year. So we're calling on central government, and we in Chamber have lobbied to this extent, as have our partners in Chambers Ireland. We're calling on central government to support the local authorities with a ring-fenced pot of funding that can allow them write off the rates liability for certain businesses based on their closure. Obviously others who are open and still trading, and indeed trading well in certain cases, who have the affordability to pay, should continue to pay their rates. However, we know 75% of those who engaged in our survey have sought the deferral of rates at least. 72% of those surveyed have sought a deferral of other payments, so revenue and indeed bank debt, mortgage debt, but bank debt for their businesses. And of those who responded, a little over half have got the deferrals they required for a 3-month period. We know from talking to our members who are representative of the banks, they're working through huge caseloads. And I expect another week or two we'll see a lot more of those businesses with applications pending, getting the decisions that they need. About half the respondents, a little over half, have entered the wage subsidy scheme itself, and that's good to see, which is an unusual thing to say, but initially there was reluctance of people to enter the subsidy scheme because it was new and a lot of the detail of the scheme was misunderstood, and thankfully Revenue came out with further guidelines and clarified the implications of going into the scheme and indeed the entry criteria, and it's proven to be a vital tool in terms of helping some businesses continue to function. And indeed in some of the respondents we've also had a call for the extension of the scheme, and I know that's something that government are reviewing, both in terms of some of the qualification criteria, for example those with salaries over a certain level are exempted, etc. They're looking at possibly widening those guidelines, and that's something that we would welcome, particularly as the focus of it is to try and keep as many people employed and as many employer-employee relationships open as possible. So that's really important. I think in terms of talking to the future. What's really important is we begin to open the conversation around what will a business recovery look like, because depending on what business you're in, you'll have a different set of circumstances. There'll be different sets of timelines for your customers to begin engaging with you again. Depending on what your stock needs, you'll have different supply chain issues. So what we have launched yesterday in Chamber on social media initially is a call to action, a call for those in business who are interested to be part of the conversation to please reach out to us. And indeed those interested parties who have an opinion, please reach out to us. This isn't specific to any one sector. This is for those at the moment who are trading. There's a cohort of businesses, for example, about 30% of the survey respondents talked about how their front office is closed, but their teams are working more than ourselves in an agile and remote way. So as I say, the impacts are going to be different for different businesses. Some will revolve around cash, but a lot won't be cash either. And this is where I believe we've a lot of competence within our membership, and some of these solutions or some of these problems can be solutioned in a practical way by having discussions around what are the problems. So for now, our call to action is for people to reach out, send you a hello mail with your willingness to get involved in the discussions to info@galwaychamber.com, or reach out to myself directly. And what we'll do is break down those respondents into sectors and try and create cluster discussions based on different sectors. We'll use Zoom to do it, we'll use email. It shouldn't be particularly complicated. We won't be able to sit around a table, unfortunately, the way things are at the moment with the restrictions, but we'll do the next best thing using technology to try and have those conversations and be able to write a paper. So if you're in the hospitality sector, what the set of issues are. If you're in a company in data or in IT at the moment, what are your issues? They may be less than those physically with the hospitality sector, but it could be around payments from getting payments from clients, for example, who are directly impacted with closures. So there's going to be a whole nuanced set of challenges. What we want to be able to do at the end of a period, what good will look like, is that we have a document which is able to set out a range of sectors. These are the challenges in each sector, and then we use that to engage with the likes of the local enterprise office, who have been a fantastic support so far to many businesses, the likes of Enterprise Ireland, in our engagement with political representatives both at a local and a national level. And equally through the established Chambers Ireland Forum, in the ability to be able to lobby and to get in at Secretary General levels in different departments and say, listen, we have engaged, these are the challenges that we have in Galway. We won't be dissimilar to many other cities, but we'll be first out of the blocks in terms of doing this, and try and lobby for solutions to the problems, so that when this does pass, and it will at some point in time, we'll move back to some means of doing a business as usual. It could be an unusual business as usual, but in any event, we will have some of these problems solved. We'll have been able to call out what some of the future problems are going to be, and we can figure out the financials to try and help support that. So that's the call to action. I want to thank those 110 businesses who participated in the survey last weekend. I want to wish you all a happy Easter. It's going to be a strange Easter, but listen, spend time with families and those close to you, and you will hear more from us next week. I want those who are interested in being part of the discussion to reach out, as I say, to info@galwaychamber.com, or directly to myself through the channels, or through kenny@galwaychamber.com if you want to have a conversation over the weekend. And I wish you the best, and we look forward to supporting you as we continue over the coming few weeks, and enjoy your weekend.